If you're building with AI right now, you know that things are moving incredibly fast. We're well past just making simple API calls. We're trying to build truly autonomous agents. And today, we're going to dive into a really fundamental shift in how we do that, and it all revolves around this idea of an agent harness.
Okay, just look at this slide. This sums up the entire change perfectly. On the left, you've got the old way, a clunky, direct API call. And on the right, the new way, just agent.query. Now, this isn't just a prettier line of code. It's a massive, massive leap in abstraction. There's a whole world of complexity hidden behind that one simple command. So what's really going on under the hood?
Well, that brings us to the question that every single developer in this space needs to be asking themselves. Are you actually solving the problem you set out to solve? Or are you just getting bogged down building infrastructure? Because let's be real, you end up spending weeks on the boilerplate stuff, right? Managing conversation history, handling all the errors, figuring out how to invoke tools, all before you even get to the unique logic that makes your agent special.
And you know, that really gets to the heart of the agent building problem today. Building a good agent is all about iteration. It's about how quickly you can build something, test it, get feedback, and then do it all over again. And if you're building all that underlying plumbing from scratch every time, you've created the single biggest bottleneck in that whole cycle.
So, what you should really be obsessed with is this metric, your time to first feedback, or TTFF. I mean, think about it. In AI, new models and new capabilities can drop overnight. Your ability to get a version 0.1, just something that works, into the hands of your team is what keeps the momentum going. If it takes you a month just to get the basics wired up, you've already lost the race.
So how do we solve this? How do we crush that TTFF? Well, let's talk about the solution, the agent harness. The best way to think about it is like a pre-built chassis for your agent. It's your agent in a box that lets you skip the boring stuff and get right to the fun part.
So here's the official definition from the source material. An agent harness is an external set of functionality to enhance a model's runtime execution. It's not the model itself. Think of it more like a sophisticated wrapper that you put around the model to handle all the messy, repetitive, but absolutely critical tasks.
And this is what I mean by messy tasks. This is what you get in the box. A good harness, like the one they talk about in the Claude Code SDK, gives you all this stuff, batteries included, conversation and context management so you don't run out of memory, a tool invocation layer, permissions, state, error handling. I mean, this is literally weeks of engineering work that you just don't have to do anymore.
This is the perfect analogy. If you're a web developer, you remember what a game-changer Create React app was, right? Suddenly, you didn't have to spend a day wrestling with Webpack configs. You could just start building your app. Well, an agent harness is exactly the same idea, but for AI. It's your Create Agent app. It lets you focus on the app, not the setup.
Okay, so if the harness is handling all the infrastructure, all that heavy lifting, what's your job now? Well, your job actually gets more interesting. It becomes all about meticulous, careful customization. You're no longer the foundational engineer. You're more like the director, fine-tuning this powerful agent to perform a very specific task.
And these are your new tools. These are the three primary levers you're going to be pulling. Mastering these is how you create all the value. Number one, the system prompt, which is where you give the agent its soul, its identity, its mission. Second, the custom tools you build. These are the agent's hands, how it interacts with the world. And third, the context you provide, which is like its specialized private library of knowledge.
And it's all about how you use these levers. Let's take this system prompt. Look at this example. This prompt turns a generic AI into a story director. You're giving it a persona, a clear goal, super detailed instructions. So prompt engineering isn't dead at all. It's just evolved into this really cool art form of directing these powerful, harnessed agents.
Now let's talk about your custom tools for a second. It's not enough to just give an agent a bunch of tools. You have to design them really effectively. Is it crystal clear when to use each one? And as the slide suggests, think about combining functions. So instead of a simple tool like generate_image, maybe create a more robust tool like generate_page content that handles both the text and the image in one single reliable step. That's how you reduce the chance of the agent messing up.
And here is a fantastic, super practical tip for that third lever, context. Don't make your agent search the web for your API documentation when you already have it. That's slow, it's unreliable, it can change. Instead, just save that info as local markdown files and tell the agent exactly how and when to look at them. This gives you a massive boost in both performance and reliability. It's a game changer. But okay, what happens when a task is just too big or too complicated for a single agent to handle? Well, that's when you call in the specialists. You bring in sub-agents. For these really complex workflows, you can use sub-agents for two key things: specialization and parallelization.
And this is a brilliant way to see it in action. So let's go back to our story director agent. You could create a highly specialized sub-agent, maybe call it a character consistency checker. Its one and only job is to look at a newly generated image and make sure the main character looks exactly the same as in the last 5 images. It does one thing, and it does it perfectly.
So, where is all of this going? Let's zoom out and look at the really big picture here. This whole trend points directly to a future of harness as a service, or HaaS. A future where these powerful, customizable runtimes are the main way we build and interact with AI.
And that leads to this really fascinating idea called the open harness thesis. The vision here is that a lot of these harnesses will end up as open source primitives. The core foundation models, yeah, those might stay closed and proprietary. But the harnesses, the things that give them their actual application-level superpowers, those can be built, extended, and shared by the entire developer community.
And if you follow that idea to its natural conclusion, you get something incredible: an open app store for agents. I mean, imagine an ecosystem where developers aren't just building apps, they're building, sharing, and improving these powerful, customized harnesses. You could just download a code generation harness or a medical research harness and start building on top of it on day one.
So here's the big takeaway. The whole focus is shifting. We're commodifying the agent infrastructure part of the stack, and we're moving all of our effort and creativity up to where it actually compounds, in the prompts, the tools, and the contexts that are perfectly tuned for a specific domain. So the next killer app, it might not even be a new foundation model. It might be a brilliantly crafted harness that sits on top of one. The only question left is, what will you build with it?